What's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of the EDM Gaming Podcast. Today's episode, Dev Against the Machine. I'm Element. I'm a game designer, and if you played Skyrim, I was about 90% of the voices on Moonpath to Elsewhere. I also live stream a bit, and I did some fan subs back in the day, so without further ado, we're going to get started. With me today is the lovely and talented Darkovika.
Hello, thank you so much. I'm Darkovika. I do a lot of videos on YouTube, as well as the fact that I am a video game programmer. And I do also live streams. I did some voice acting, if we could call it that, last quarter.
It came out good.
Yeah. I think that about covers it.
Thank you, Darkovika. Welcome. And the not so lovely, but equally talented Fable Mercenary.
Oh, you think I'm talented? I'm just kidding. Thank you guys for having me. I am Fable Mercenary. Other than that, I've done some work for the Nexus forums. If you play Fallout New Vegas, you can catch a lot of my mods. I'm the guy who did the Glock pistol pack. That was actually very well received, I'd say. Otherwise, you probably know me from Xbox Live as Raw Champion. If you had the unfortunate, I'd call it, happenstance to actually come against me in Battlefield 3, 4, or Bad Company 2, I'm the guy who probably sniped you in the head.
That's a way to introduce yourself to people.
Yeah.
Probably sniped you in the head. What you doing, baby? Oh, I'm sorry, you're dead.
So there you go. That's where the EDM comes from. I'm Element, that's Darkovika, and that's Mercenary. We are all characters, as it's apparent. It's coming through right now. I want to start off by first thanking you guys for doing the show. It's been a long time coming, and I've been planning this for a while, and it took even longer to find just the right people to do it with. So, of course, a special thanks to Darkovika for hosting this podcast on her channel, which helps us reach a wider audience, which is her audience.
Well, I'm really happy to have you guys on the channel. It's going to be really awesome. I've been wanting to branch out more and kind of, include a lot more things on the channel. My channel's really hodgepodge, so it fits in.
Yeah, hodgepodge is the word. Well, let's get to business then. What have you guys been playing this week? I'll let Darkovika go first.
Outside of what I've been recording for my channel, because you guys already know what I've been doing. I've been playing some Dragon Age Inquisition, which is really cool. I finally made a dwarf that is really awesome. I'm rocking a double-handed maul, and he's got a really crazy cool beard. I'm a dwarf person in fantasy. I love dwarves. Oh man, the Dwarven army in Battle for Middle-earth, not Battle for Middle-earth, the Hobbit movie, Battle of Five Armies. The Dwarven army was just right there, but the best thing ever. So that's what I've been doing. Just playing some Dragon Age Inquisition, rockin' dwarf.
Is that like a blanket statement? Like you're totally a dwarf the whole time? In fantasy settings?
Yeah, quite possibly.
I thought they were hot, and I was like, oh. Okay.
Well, maybe not, but I think they're like the coolest fantasy race, dwarves.
They're so pudgy.
They're so awesome. They're so strong. They're like massive tanks. They just tear through shit.
So are giants. I'm sorry.
All of what I know of dwarves go back to Gimli when he says there's a common misconception that there are no dwarf women. But they all look like dwarf men.
Yep, they have beards, and that was actually a reference to Tolkien's universe because he never wrote about female dwarves ever in any of his books. Technically speaking, they don't exist. So Peter Jackson decided to address that.
So how do they reproduce? Or do they just pop up?
Yeah, that's a Dragon Age thing. Actually, they're like, they think dwarves are born from the stone.
Wow, they really did take that a long way.
Wow. Well, that would make sense because I think I was reading up on the origins of the universe and the Tolkien universe and how the dwarves were kind of like this bastard child almost of the races. It was like the humans and the elves and then
Dwarves. And then if you take the orcs are actually kind of made the same way. Take an elf and combine it with an orc, you get a specific breed. I forget which one. But depending on which, like, normal race you use and then, like, an orc, you get a different kind. I think Urukai were elves and orcs.
No, they were goblins and orcs, weren't they?
I don't remember. It might have been. It's been a while. I remember reading it and they were like explaining the weird bastardization. It was disturbing. To say the least.
Is that like the legit story, or is that like someone's explanation of it?
No, it was actually like, it was explained in the movie, and I believe it was explained in the books too at one point when they were like with Saruman, and he was like, "Yes, I am the greatest thing ever." Ha ha! I am Saruman. Before Gandalf was like, "Bitch, please," and then killed him.
All wizards do that, right? Ah!
Ah!
Actually reminds me of that.
It wasn't "you shall not pass," it was "you shall not." Oh,
Monica. Ouch.
So how is Dragon Age Inquisition? I've only played it like the first 10
No spoilers
minutes.
though.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes I just played and I couldn't.
well, personally, I like it, but a lot of people's complaints for Dragon Age Inquisition was that it was way too grindy and repetitive. There was a lot of backtracking. Like one of the very first areas you go into, no spoilers, you will spend like upwards 2 to 4 hours there just running around trying to complete all of the side quests. Mainly if you're a good gamer, you'll do that because it should be, that's what you do. But like half of it's not even necessary. You're only really supposed to do one thing and it takes about like 5 minutes to do that thing. But the area is so massive and the enemies respawn the second you walk like 5 feet away from the area.
I wouldn't say it's a bad thing at all. I mean, like, the world keeps changing. You have lots of places to go, and you have side quests. I mean, if they didn't put side quests in there, you'd have the latter argument. There's no side quests, but a really big area.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. It was just that the game itself, like, the actual storyline is very short. You could beat, like, the whole game really fast, like, in a day. Without those side quests and, like, really taking the time to go through the game, it's, I mean, it gets a little long. Like, sometimes you get to an area and you're like, what am I even doing here? Why does this area exist? Why am I going on these side quests? It doesn't actually matter. What are these points that I'm gaining? What does this actually mean? I do like the romance options, though. That was pretty cool.
I always
Did some
love those.
really awesome lines.
I love those about BioWare games.
Yep.
Yeah, the romance options are pretty cool, I'll admit.
Dragon Age romance options were always my favorite.
How many of you chose Tali?
My brother did. I can't say I ever did. I will admit I'm little towards Ashley Williams. I know a lot of people hate her because she's kind of specious, but I'll admit, like, it just seemed, call me old-fashioned, it was a little weird to date an alien. Even though she's supposed to be the hottest character, but the three-finger thing and the feet was like, I don't know if I would just like.
I couldn't dig her hair. Her hair wasn't cool enough. And it was like tentacles. It was like her skin, but I just couldn't dig her hair.
Wait, not.
That's Liara.
Oh, Tali. Oh, Tali was the one with the helmet. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I wasn't really into Mass Effect. I love Tali. She's adorable. Okay.
Yeah,
That
she's
was
a
like the
great
most
character.
appealing thing about her, though, is what was underneath that mask. You know what I'm saying?
It had a mystique layer, but I wouldn't say it was necessary for a romance. Like, it made me want to like involve myself with the character more. But it was kind of like having Jack on board. Like, I wouldn't want to date Jack, but like her getting underneath her surface level was like a really big deal, especially when it got to number 3, because you learned a lot about her as you went on. I didn't date her though. I will admit my most current playthrough that I'm so satisfied with, I did date Ashley, but I'm probably going to redo it and date Liara on the rebound because I own all 3 games plus all DLC for all of them. So it's like, it takes a while to play, but the experience is going to change over time with the different choices and whatnot, of course. But no, I can say I ever dated Tali. The 3 fingers and 3 toes. It's like being clawed, and it was weird.
It was more than just the helmet too. It was the person that played her, the voice actress.
The hips.
That too.
The bodacious curves.
Yes.
She was very curvaceous, that's for sure. But no,
Hard for me to choose. There was like only one dude.
Well, you had Yeah, well, Caden though, you can't really do much with him at number one. It was like his non-romance and romance options were the same. So like as a male,
Dude was going after you no matter what you did. If you were like, if you looked at him too long, he thought you were in love with him. It
Like,
was really awkward.
I found his character number one so boring that I feel like just talking to him makes him think that either like we're best friends or I want that. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what to be. So it was like, I'm not gonna talk to you, and you're always gonna die number one, unfortunately, because like Ashley's character, like when you get her all spectated here, she tanks like hell. Like I put her out there, she's cannon fodder, and she doesn't die. And like the same thing as number three. So I'm like, dude, Caden, I'm sorry, but you just suck all the way around. There's no way you're ever gonna be alive in my place.
Hey, what about the Solarian? He's a dude.
I don't think he can date more.
Oh,
I think he rejects you for because of his lifespan. He says it's not worth it, I think, or something like that.
Does he really?
I think so. I'm pretty sure. Not that I've tried it.
Really long time since I played Mass Effect. But yeah.
Well, I wouldn't know. I didn't go after him.
I did a lot of videos on that because I was like curious about all the different options. So I take Google
Options are like so exciting in games when you have like
Yeah.
these options and you're like, replayability.
It's like I get so immersed that I have trouble playing as a female because I feel so out of sorts when I try to like do a female like response. I'm like, this is not what I would do. This just feels weird. And like going after like Jake, I was just like, this is odd. I can't do this very long.
Jake, that was the one in the second game. She was like nuts, right?
Yeah, no, Jacob. That's Jack.
Oh, that's Jack. Okay.
Jacob was the black guy that never wore armor for some reason. I don't know
Oh,
why.
you're that guy.
I'm a soldier, but I wear
remember.
latex all day. Like, bro,
Yeah.
armor will do you some good.
And you tell me that the other girl is modeled off of a real what was she modeled after? Like an
Miranda?
actress or
Yeah,
something?
her name was like started with a Y or something like that. I can't remember, but she played in the TV show Chuck. I know that for sure.
Whoa. What's her name?
Yeah, it's like it's
She
on the
played
tip of my tongue,
Miranda.
We have Elgoog
Yeah.
at our fingertips. We could always look it up.
Yeah. Did you say Elgood? Should I Google backwards?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Monica, you're something else.
Yeah, did I mention she was lovely and talented? She's also that.
Or Darkovika. I butcher that all day.
That's fine. I had a moment of excitement when one of my favorite YouTubers said my name in one of his videos, but it was crushed because he said it Darkovika.
Oh.
I was like, I love you, so I don't care.
Hey, as long as it's not Johnny.
Oh God,
Yeah.
Johnny.
Yeah, but let's
Let's not say we didn't.
Oh God, yeah. Oh God.
That's a territory that has yet to be released on DLC.
On DLC,
So
the Johnny DLC.
yeah, let's
my
not
gosh.
glitch into that region.
Yeah. Glitch into that region. Oh, geez. But I guess I'll go next, though, what I've been playing. For the past couple of quarters at AI, I've been carbo loading, as I call it, which is an athletic term for eating a bunch of carbs before a big game to, help with...
Isn't it just carb loading?
It's carbo loading. Last time I checked in athletic training, it was carbo loading, but I could be wrong. Could be said both ways. Tomato, tomato, potato. Anyway, though, I've been basically, like I said, gathering a bunch of RPGs to play throughout this year because I've been skipping out on some. I did manage to finish the Order all about during last quarter, which is a lot of people give a lot of hate because of how short it is, but if you have a job in the life, typically you don't play for 8 hours plus. It'll last you at least 3 weeks, and I thought it was well worth it. I mean, I even bought the collector's edition. No buyer's remorse. It's a great playthrough. Galahad, the guy you play as, turns out to be Batman in the end. It's really funny.
What?
He's sitting on top of a gargoyle. He's like actually Batman, but like the entire scene looks as if you're playing like Arkham City because he's got
Yeah,
him.
that was what I thought of.
Yeah, exactly.
That was exactly what I thought of. He's just
I was
Batman
like,
sitting on the gargoyle.
Yeah, apparently this is Batman 1886. He's sitting on top of a gargoyle and he's like, I'm not Galahad anymore. He just takes off his thing. We're just
I'm
like,
the knight.
Yeah, it's like, aren't you badass? Like, all right.
I said that to
said it,
someone
I
in a
was
comment somewhere on YouTube. They were like, man, you're everywhere. And I was like, yes, of course, I am the knight. And they were like, you're Batman? And I was like, well, I am Darkovika.
Oh,
God.
that's dark.
Can I walk out on this podcast?
You conduct this meeting.
Oh man.
But what I've been playing recently though has been I've like dedicated myself to like, at least playing Sundays all the way through, but trying to get a lot of time in them on Sundays is Fallout 3. I want to finish that before
You've
like
not finished that yet?
I have not. When it comes to Fallout and Elder Scrolls, typically if the average time someone beats it, times that by 2 for me. I'm the kind of person who will only fast travel if it's like hitting 1 a.m. and I really need to get back to somewhere. Otherwise, I sightsee like no other. I go random places just to go seek them out. And if it's side quests, I spend time like reading every log or terminal or note that passerby from someone's house, and like if you're playing Fallout or Elder Scrolls or whatnot.
No doubt.
But yeah, so I beat Fallout New Vegas at least 7 times already, and just love the game, mod the hell out of it, have stuff that I've never released on it, stuff I probably should, but just things of that nature. So I was like, Fallout 3 is an older one, but people say it's, most people say they like that one better than New Vegas. I still prefer the Wild Wasteland that was New Vegas, but the DC Wasteland isn't too bad, or Capital Wasteland, that's what it's called. Isn't so bad. I'm not a big fan of how much I have to go underground, because when I was younger, I was traumatized by zombies, so ghouls freaked me the hell out. And I normally play at night, so it's not fun when a group of ghouls come running at you and all you have is like a single shot, Lincoln's repeater. So, I kind of jump a little bit. But other than that, it's not bad, actually. It's like I said, it's one of those RPGs that I can sit hours within. That's what I've been playing most recently. I'm really hoping...
Yeah, I could, play the heck out of... I played the heck out of Fallout New Vegas, but I don't know, the Fallout games weren't... They didn't really resonate with me. I think it was too much brown.
Yeah, I can understand that. What's wrong with being brown, first of all? But anyway, glossing over that statement.
Well, I just mean it was the same thing with Skyrim and Oblivion for me.
Well, Skyrim has a lot of colors, though.
It does, but when you compare it to Oblivion, which is by far my most favorite game, both gameplay-wise and graphically, it was such a letdown for me to walk into Skyrim, and it was just I couldn't see the colors because all I could see was the Madness DLC where you go into Sheogorath's realm. If you go into the
right, yeah,
those colors, yeah, that is the stuff of my dreams.
I mean,
virtual high five.
Yes,
Oblivion.
I don't know, I always say that I love Skyrim, and I think it's a great game. I never thought it was the best Elder Scrolls game. I always go back to Morrowind, absolutely, just by far down is one of the longer ones, and I love it to death. I could play that. I actually bought an original Xbox and the Game Gear edition, and I also have 7 copies of Morrowind anyway, so it's just...
I have one on Steam.
I have one on Steam. I have one on Xbox.
I take my
several
time.
copies.
That's...
It's so bad. But, the idea was that I was going to melt some of them down into a mask and wear it while I play Elder Scrolls.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a little scary. That is a little over the top there.
I'm totally joking.
She's playing a different character now.
You gotta be careful with me, bruh. Gullible is my middle name.
Oh gosh, this is great.
I immediately pictured it and I was like,
see, but it's feasible.
Kevin,
that's the thing. When I say it, people believe. They're like, I can see you doing it. I'm like, that makes me sad and kind of happy at the same time.
It's now I know how you see me and I kind of enjoy it.
But getting back to Oblivion though, I always thought Oblivion's graphics, not just the colors, but a lot of stuff was a little over the top. I never felt that it was realistic looking. It was always okay, I see that that's a tree, but does it have to be so damn green? It was just it would just throw its colors at me. I always prefer a little bit, I wouldn't say as drab as Fallout 3, but I think Morrowind and Skyrim's tones kind of hit where I'd kind of like it. A little bit desaturated, I guess the colors would be not saturated, a little desaturated, I believe is what it is. And I picked the warmer but the less in-your-face tones. Whenever I turn on Oblivion, I've been trying to beat that too, which is why now I'm devoting a month to each game separately so that I can actually finish them, hopefully. But going back to Oblivion after playing Skyrim for so long, and I spent my entire 7th grade in Morrowind, which I don't remember half of it because it was all in Morrowind, so it's pretty sad. But going back to Oblivion, it seems like every time I walk outside, it's just damn, colors everywhere. Got it. Okay.
I love it. I'm all about colors in nature. It was the one thing I loved about going to Ireland and Scotland. It was just colors everywhere.
So you like acid?
You sure? It wasn't just all green?
was all green, but it was more color than was here, for example. Like, it was green everywhere, but like I came back here and even though there's green here, it was like brown. I was like, well, that tree is pretty brown.
There's a lot more colors to appreciate here.
I
that's
disagree.
not nature. Like, you can have the green grass and then you'll have, you know, the black and white cop cars and the red and blue sirens.
Yeah, that's not it for me. That's not the colors I look. Yeah, that's really what you see the most of here. No, I need green. I love the green. Oh, shut up.
I'm like, all I'm hearing is that she likes green and hates brown. Like, I'm half offended and half just laughing my ass off because she wants so much green.
Oh, LOL, lol. So funny.
Oblivion is definitely more stylized.
Yes.
Which is why Oblivion is my favorite Elder Scrolls game, but I think Skyrim is the best Elder Scrolls game.
Ooh, I don't know if I'd say that. The best? It's pretty damn good, but label it the best. I mean, I've yet to actually finish Daggerfall, whichever it is, don't kill me, and Arena, but like, those still hold a pretty good candle just for content-wise. I mean, obviously graphically they're not going to beat Skyrim by any margin, but when it comes to
by Azura, it's the Grand Champion.
That was a good one.
One time I gave him a torch and I ran into a tomb and then I like kind of shunted him out into the hallway.
I just killed him on the spot. I'm like, dude, don't.
Oh, I loved watching other people kill him.
I think
getting other people to go after him.
I think he died on the mission I was doing for the Dark Brother. I was like, I could use a second pair of hands and use him as a cannon fodder. I think when you have to go in there and kill the Dark, to purge the sanctuary. I was like, go, alert the others and let them run out and try to kill me while I kill these two over here all nice and secret light. And he got hit
by Azura on the ground.
Hey, my character works with Azura.
Jesus, listening to you guys, I realize how much I've forgotten about this game. I literally streamed it for like 6 months, and that was like my life.
I've got like 30 episodes of Oblivion on my channel that I don't think anyone knows about.
Holy cow! I'm gonna have to watch those. Anything else girls related, I'm there.
Oblivion or Skyrim?
They were pretty cool. I did a really weird character. I did a character who fought with fists and was a mage.
My characters pretty much fight like Green Arrow. I have a habit of just all bows, fists, and light armor. Like, literally, I kill legendary dragons wearing the black version of the Thieves Guild Master armor, and I'm just like, sweet.
I've always wanted to get the dragon armor so that I could just walk up to a dragon and go, does this look familiar? Because it's your cousin's insides. I'm wearing
can't hear you, right?
your cousin's insides. It's just kind of in my head. I have those moments.
We appreciate those moments.
I'm pretty sure we all talked to the characters at one point. I know, like, I got sick of Vex because she kept saying, like, go do some jobs with him. I'm like, bitch, I'm the Thieves Guild Master. Like, what are you talking about?
I am the only one doing jobs around here, okay? How about you get off your butt and go make some money? Huh?
I was like, you felt the first job that I did to get into this thing. You can't tell me what to do.
They were always in the same spots, too. Like, they didn't move from there.
Mine did. I mean, they're always in the hub after, like, the initial meeting, but, like, they were always switching, like, where they were staying at the hub. I think only person who walks out of there
What about that red guard? What's his face? Do you know what I'm talking about?
In the Thieves Guild?
No, in the Brotherhood.
Oh, Azir. What about him?
Yeah, he never moved.
He did for me.
He was always at the table.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. After you finally, I think you get to one mission, he's actually when he starts being your character, he's always freaking.
Talking about, this one was in Skyrim, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
And I'm just always there. I like had to sit back the first time I walked into the Brotherhood, and she was like, and then I pulled him into the alley, and I was like, I'm so scared. And he was like, oh, little girl, I'll help you. And everyone starts laughing, and I was like, I'm disturbed.
Babette, she was great. Her character was
Babette,
great.
yeah, oh, I was so happy she survived. I was like, you are a frightening character, but I love you to death.
I would have soul trapped her if I could have killed her. I'm like, you're a vampire. You're not a child. I'm like, F that. They put an arrow through your skull and soul trap you and call it a day.
I don't know. I always like vampire characters that are children because it just kind of like...
Yeah.
Well, I
It
look
says
at them
something
and I go,
about the race too, because of how young they can be. Like even in like the
Yeah.
Twilight series. I'm
Oh,
sorry
oh.
to be blasphemous and name that series in this podcast, but like just what's her name, Jane?
I don't know, man.
I'm asking Darkovika.
Wait, what game were we talking about?
Not game, Twilight, where
You talked about
Oh, you talking
with
about
Jane.
Bella and Edward? Because I can give you the rundown. Be careful. I'm reading the book right now. For the
No,
I'm rereading it rather.
I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about Jane, the really young
Oh, the
vampire.
little one, right? The creepy one. The one of the Italian vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was psycho.
But that's awesome. I don't know. It's just this weird kind of like obsession with vampires that are like young because they seem the most sadistic.
All right.
Yeah.
They're the
but-
most twisted because we're listening to horrible adult nightmarish things come out of a child. The very vision of innocence. We're watching it come out of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
think
like
when that comes out, it's like a good contrast of like characters because they appear the innocent. Of course, they do the most dastardly. So I think that's what having a child be a vampire is probably the best place to put it. Just for my character, though, for the sake of the way he was back in moments, I put the same character throughout because he's an elf, so he can live that long. I've slaughtered so many Daedra type, things. Like I've done the whole, they don't wipe out the werewolves. Yeah, I've killed, what are they called? What the people in Whiterun called? The werewolf people?
Companions.
Companions, yeah, I tried to kill them so many times.
Oh, I accidentally made them hate me because I
Yeah.
ran over to go kill the giant, but I was the Flash and I was a little too overpowered and I kind of zapped the giant and then like I turned around and I was like, I have saved your life, puny humans, and then they ran towards me and I was like, oh, turns out I accidentally zapped you. My bad. And they're like
wasn't an
whacking
accident.
me and it was like doing nothing to my health because it was like a cheat mod and I was like, you guys realize you got nothing right now, right? Like I could sneeze at you and murder you. Yep, and they died. And then I reloaded.
It's terrible. Yeah,
Yes.
what?
no, I guess.
So did you guys ever actually wipe out the Dark Brotherhood?
No.
No?
I always took part in the Dark Brotherhood.
Oh, I couldn't. My character was a Morong Tong through and through, so when it came to join the Dark Brotherhood, I was like, it looks like you gotta die. So I killed them all. It's a pretty good fight. Pretty cool.
Well, you role played.
Yeah, I role play hard in that game.
Yeah.
I don't
Raw
play
champion.
with other people. Hey, no, actually, I have a whole different name for that. Actually, I actually use an in-game character name. It's actually
Captain Squeebs?
fits- Nope, it actually fits the naming conventions for elves, like for dark elves. Like I've gone through trouble of actually doing that. So, luckily, my name backwards actually uses most of the letters that are in the dark, most dark elves' names. So, I use that, change the I to a Y and the E to an A, and I got my name. So,
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Kim.
Nivak.
Oh, your character's name.
Yeah.
Nivik?
Yeah.
And then I forgot your name is actually,
Yeah.
Nevik.
Wait.
Michael backwards.
Is it Nivik or Yep Nivik?
That's
I thought- I thought it was.
I'm not Alpha, but okay.
Nevik? Oh, I get what you're saying. It took me a second there. I was like, what?
Yes.
Because then I translated that backwards and I got Pay Kevin.
What is that? Where does that come from?
Nevik.
Oh, I see. Got you. Okay. You're on like a whole nother cloud.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay,
my goodness.
Explain that one to me.
Don't
And
ask.
I thought it was Yep Nevik because I said Yep, and then but I missed that part. So then I was like, Yep Nevik, you mean Kevin Pepe? And I was like, what? And then I realized what you actually said.
My first name backwards, not the one I go by at school, just so that's clear. You have a hard time realizing that. So it's my first name, which is Kevin, backwards, but you change the I to a Y and the E to an A. And then you get my character's name.
That's way too much freaking alphabets for me.
It's 5 letters. Yes.
Oh man, we were just talking about rich vocabularies too.
Right? Like 5 letters. Burp, derp.
Hey, I don't like to do alphabets or maths. It's a tough subject.
You are definitely not a programmer then.
That's what I know. I'm a scripter / designer. I fill my role the way it's supposed to be filled.
Hey, I do agree. I will not argue there.
This is true.
Well, since we're talking about Elder Scrolls, that's what I've been playing.
Hey.
Elder Scrolls Online, which is something
I'm
that
just
you
kidding.
guys need to start playing because that shit is cray.
I am waiting till it's out on the PS4 or until I get my laptop, which will probably happen next month. So.
Oh,
I'm
I've
gonna
used
start
that on PS3. My bad.
But if you buy it now, you can transfer that account to the console version for free.
Well, that's under the impression that the laptop I have now can actually play the game, and
It can.
you say
If it can run Razer comms, it can run the game. I'm just kidding.
I was like, really?
That's like some PR stuff right there. I just want to reassure you guys that, you know, if you buy the game and you're able to run, you know, Google Docs, you will be able to run this game, you know, at 20 frames per second.
Now, I have a question for you. If I get it for PC and I'm playing it right, and I want to transfer my file to PS4, can I now play on both systems, but the characters progress differently based on what I do in each one, or is it just that one account gets moved?
That account gets moved.
That sucks.
But the thing is, you can start playing now and start leveling up and progress your character and then transfer it to the console and then you continue on there.
Well, if I was rolling in dough, I would so do that, but I'm not, so I'm on my laptop. So
You're rolling in
There you
chicken.
go. Rolling in chicken. Yeah, rolling in chicken. Bendy straws.
You guys should just really like check it out. It's
Dude, that's
like when I started playing it in the early access days, there were, you know, it had its flaws and it definitely had its launch problems. But you know, ever since I came back because it went free to play with Tamriel Unlimited, the game is just a completely different game. I mean, they introduced the justice system, which lets you
I know.
pickpocket.
I almost came a little bit when I saw that. Just
Oh, that info,
TMI,
though.
TMI.
what? Everyone has gamegasms. Don't lie.
Oh man, really quick tangent that actually makes sense. I'm like, the other day.
You know.
No, wait. It is slightly related. I was teaching one of my students the other day. We were having a music lesson, and he's a 6th grader. He walks in and he goes, "So I found out your secret," and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "You have a YouTube channel," and I was sitting there like, "Oh no."
Oh, no,
3 years of doing this and it finally happened. They found me. Oh
So,
god, no. He was like, "I saw you used to do Minecraft videos," and I was like, honey, get your parents' permission before you watch those."
That's right. How old are your students?
Yeah, no, that most of them are like 5 to 9.
Okay, so they they can't be on the internet.
They shouldn't be on the internet.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
There are kids who've got iPhone 6s and they're like in what, 5th grade? I'm like, I got my Galaxy S4.
I have an iPhone 6 Plus, and like I used to get really annoyed because I'd like set it down. I use it for teaching because I teach them using like video and stuff like that.
Right.
And one of my students comes in and goes, "Is that the iPhone 6 Plus?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "It bends in your pocket." And I was like, "All right, honey, let me lay out something out for you. You know, girl pants, we don't have pockets. Okay, girl
Do you have
pants."
back pockets though?
No.
Okay,
Oh.
I know firsthand. I've seen pockets on your pants.
He has seen pockets on your pants, Monica.
Yes,
Nowhere
not,
else.
not that I'm like staring at the pants,
Oh,
but they're noticeable.
yourself into that. Uh-huh.
I so did. I was saying that. I'm like, I hope he just catches the bait.
You're funny.
In that corner.
Hey, I was saying, you making chicken jokes, I'm gonna fire back with something. I'm just mine's gonna be a little bit more clever. That's all.
Touche.
No hating, no. It is
But yeah, Elder Scrolls Online.
yeah.
Seriously, actually, I think there's a promo going on right now where you can get it for $39.
Like I said, it's not that I can't really buy it. It's like I'm not going to dip into my savings because the laptop I'm going to get is going to last me past graduation, and I'm like, I really need a new one because this one can't run UE4, and so I'm like, if I'm going to be doing this stuff, like I need to actually run something. So I have my priorities set. But once this laptop is bought, I'm like, get every game from here to Kingdom Come. What's this?
I was like, "What's this? What's this? There's video games everywhere.
Yeah, I was gonna do that when I got my taxes, but they cut me short.
They cut you short.
Yeah, they were like, you get 1,700 something. I'm like, sweet. And they do the whole, the process, and they review it. And I'm like, oh, because you can be claimed by your mother, we're gonna dock at the grand. And I'm like, that's not even remotely funny. Like, I pay for my crap out of pocket. Like, what is wrong with you? And so I got like 700. So I'm like, well, that puts a dent in my plan. So
wait, you were
Yeah,
claimed by your mother?
yeah,
How old are you?
21.
Oh, shit. I thought you were over 24.
Did you really?
I thought you were older than me too.
How old did you guys think I was?
I thought you were like 26 or something. 26, 27.
Wow, I am flattered. Thank you.
Somewhere around there.
No, I just actually turned 21 back in February.
I actually thought you were around 18 to 32. No, I'm just kidding.
Huge gap.
I'm just covering all of the bases.
All the bases. 18 to 32? Ish,
Take a couple decades. What do you guys think I am?
I know you're
22.
24-ish.
Right in between you guys. What you said.
23.
Oh.
How old do you think I
That
am?
mystery solved.
No. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm 23.
How old am I?
You.
At least
are-
42. I'm just,
Boy,
just kidding.
I want to say you're
26?
27.
Close.
28, 30,
Close. Close.
29, 32.
29.
Oh, okay.
I did say 29 first, and then went straight to 32 because you said 18 to 32. So I was like, maybe 32. Anyway, Kevin logic.
Yep.
Fabled mercenary logic.
There you go.
Yep. There we go.
We
Captain
have to establish your identity and your brand.
Well,
Captain Squeebs. I mean, mercenary.
Captain Fabled Paint Champ Squeebs.
to pull every moniker, name tag, gamer tag, PSN network name that I have into one would be ridiculous. I have so freaking many, and it's like I just want one that sticks long enough. And I'm like, y'all just don't roll off the tongue very well, except for Squeebs. That one actually fits.
Squeebs is kind of fun to say. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think it is fun to say for people. I think like just that's why I first was like Squeebs, but I'm like, no one's know like Squeebs online. That's just weird. But,
I don't know.
You're kind of stuck
I
now
re-
because you're the M and the EDM.
yeah, no, keep it like mercenary's fine. Like I like the mercenary.
Be the Squeebs mercenary.
Oh, that just sounds weird.
The merc with the mouth.
Heyo. I prefer Deathstroke though, to be honest with you. A little bit more my size. That sounds weird, but that's my alley.
You have a particular size then?
Had to be at least 6 foot something. I don't know, man. I have weird vocabulary. I say words they don't fit, and it's like, it's again, when Ebonics is your first language, it's a little difficult sometimes. Right?
God.
Alphabets.
And Monica, what's Ebonics?
Shut up. We didn't record that, right? Like
Yeah, we
that
did.
one part.
Yeah,
That was, huh?
that was recorded.
So now we're gonna know how
973.
random numbers.
31.
31.
We got that. All right, we're horribly off subject though.
They'll understand
Yeah.
one day. They'll understand.
terrible moments leading up to this. But anyway,
We still have a couple more minutes if you want to just keep on bantering on. I could talk about Elder Scrolls Online and how you guys want to buy it. You should buy it for
like,
another
okay.
4 minutes.
I'm going to buy. Like you don't have to do the PR for me. Like I knew when they announced, and all I know is Scrolls Game, I was eventually going to buy that game. For me, it's either I'm going to do it this summer or during the holiday season when I probably have paid off my laptop by then. So it's just the if of when. There's no like I'm not going to. Like I'm going to play that freaking game. I'm going to be the freaking master thief, and I'm going to call myself like the Black Hood. I'm going to run around wearing a black hood, shooting people with arrows. Like I have it set out. Like you don't understand. Like my character is made. Like I know what he's going to do.
Why do you have to adhere to so many stereotypes? The Black Hood.
I'm gonna wear a black hood as a dark elf. Like it fits so well. It's like the Thieves Guild armor. If it looks remotely the
Out of
same,
an
in that
opportunity to
game-
call yourself the Dark Hood.
Oh, that.
The Fabled Hood.
I like that one actually, but Monica, really? I'm not gonna just side glance that one.
Dark squeeps.
No, I meant because you're a dark elf.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant because I was black. Because you already hate brown, so I'm just trying to defend myself right now.
I wish I could make these avatars kind of like sneer at each other on the scene.
That'd be great.
Oh,
Except
no,
I know,
you
like-
said you're gonna be a
because it's the
dark
7.
elf.
Well, see, when I'm in game, no one's gonna know I'm. Yeah, by what you mean, Monica. Yes, that would work. But like the idea that, like, you remember the Gray Fox from Oblivion? Silence.
The Gray Fox.
From
The what?
Oblivion. The Gray Fox from Oblivion. You from the game
Thieves
Oblivion?
Guild.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Gray
Okay.
Fox. Wow, man, really?
Seriously?
Hey,
It
you
was like the most OP item in the game.
Right?
It was like the best thing ever. And then like you could just take it off and a guard running up to you would just go, "Hi, how are you today?"
need I remind you? I have not played these games recently like you guys have.
Dude, I
Like
haven't-
Oblivion.
No.
Oblivion
I
was like
haven't played
2001
Oblivion
for
in
me or something.
Yeah, I haven't played in
somewhere.
years though. I beat that quite a while ago. I just started playing, but I've only.
The last thing I
gotten out of the
remember
dungeon.
from Oblivion is the Knights of the Nine, and that's it.
The best DLC.
Hey, I don't know. I loved Sheogorath's DLC.
That's because you like colors though and acid trips. That's.
Yeah. My favorite Disney movie was Alice in Wonderland.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, and I don't know what does.
But I think the best scene from that DLC was me riding on my horse alongside the Nine.
I actually
Going
ran
to-
with them. I didn't even use the horse. I just like let's all run there. So yeah.
Let's ride, and you're like, "Nah, man, I got this."
They had like their armor and stuff, like even the horses.
Yeah, that's true. I think I wasn't a fan of horses. I don't know why. It was all the color was getting to me, so I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna
My
chill out.
God.
We're talking about colors.
Yes.
But anyway, no.
He turns on Oblivion and he's like, let me make my character. Okay, press play. Oh my gosh, green.
No, it's once you hit the outside of that the sewer, and it's like boom, blue, colors, green, sandy colors, and other
Primary
freaking-
colors.
Primary color.
Well, they're so vibrant, which is not a real problem, but it's just like it's so much in that game. Like, and then they have that one quest where you save the painter from his own painting and whatnot, and it's like a second acid trip inside of an acid trip, and I'm like, the colors need to stop. And that's how people get serious with video
My
games.
eyes! It burns us! It burns us!
That's actually what I call the PvP in Elder Scrolls Online, the primary color war. No, because the Eldritch Dominion is yellow.
Yeah, it's
And the Heart
yellow,
Pact is
green.
red.
Yeah,
And the Daggerfall Covenant is blue.
I said green. I meant blue.
You know, if somebody doesn't know their primary colors.
Oh
Hey,
boy,
whoa,
someone's
hey.
got to go back to color theory.
I took digital color theory. I know it. And no, green is not a primary color. I do know that.
It's a what?
Oh, it's like a secondary, isn't it?
Actually, I'm not sure.
You laugh at me, but you didn't even know. I know it's not a tertiary.
Waiting for you to give him the answer so he can be like, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
No, I got mixed up between secondary and complementary. I was like, wait.
No, it's not. No, I don't think
So it's primary,
Yeah, no,
secondary, tertiary, and then complementary, and then opposing or something.
yeah. It's complementary red though.
What?
I remember on the color wheel. Yeah, it's complementary to red on the color.
What color are we talking about?
Green.
Green, yeah. They're complementary colors. What were we trying to remember?
He was asking me what like if it wasn't primary, so he was asking me what color was it. Like it's secondary. He's just like, I don't know. Why would you ask if you don't know the answer?
Wait, if red is a primary color.
Green.
Yes, green.
Oh, green? Green is a secondary color because it.
That's what I said because it's made from two primary colors. Yeah.
Exactly, there we go.
I was in. Yes, I took color theory. I knew it.
31.
Random numbers again.
Yes.
But back to the
Yes.
great topic at hand. The Black Hood will be a thing coming this fall. I'm
Oh.
telling you, when I put an arrow through one of your characters, and like, oh my gosh, he was serious. I'm like, yes, I
No.
freaking was.
No, that's
Proved
not gonna happen.
myself.
You say that now, you're gonna watch how good I freaking am at being a stealth character.
Are you
Like,
okay?
in your
You're gonna be a
face.
dark elf,
Yes.
so you're gonna be on the Ebon Heart Pact.
Yep.
I kill reds for a living,
That's nice.
and
won't come
you
into
are
the-
not gonna kill me. I guarantee you that.
Oh, you say that now, but see, it's that kind of arrogance that put people down. Like in Battlefield, when they think I can't shoot
I'm
them
gonna
too
play
far
the
away.
game.
Actually, yes, you should, because you told me. You told me
I
in
am
a
going to get it.
conversation- In a conversation
My-
we had. Don't try to excuse. No excuses. This
No,
isn't
no, no. My
Mayweather
reason
and Pacquiao.
for not getting it yet is the same as Captain Squeebs over here. I'm waiting to get it because I know if I get into an MMO, first of all, I have ADD with video games. It is rare that I finish a video game. Everyone in the comments below post how many video games I have not finished on this channel.
So you don't
I know,
finish off
16.
them? Okay.
Random
Some of
numbers.
them don't even have playlists anymore. But like,
Honestly,
I'll
just-
play for like a week probably, and then I'll be like, ooh, Dragon Age Inquisition, and then I'll like go play that, and then I'll be like, ooh, Elder Scrolls Online, and I'll come back for like a couple days, and then I'll be like, ooh, Guild Wars 2, and then I'll go play that for a week.
Well, it's better
But-
than me who looks at his game library and goes, I have nothing to play today. Xbox games.
all like 200 games. I don't know what to play today.
Yeah, I
that's
have like,
the-
you know, it's terrible if you saw my library. Like, for me to say that, it's just like, really, dude? Really? Open your Steam account.
but isn't that the appeal of a buy-to-play MMO? I mean, you buy it, you can go play something else without any remorse because you're not paying monthly.
Oh, yes,
You can always come back to it. So whether or not you play Dragon Age Inquisition, or if you're playing, or you're still trying to beat Resident Evil,
Yeah, that would be me. Again, don't finish games. It's coming back. I swear, it will come back. I've just been like really all over the place with games.
you turned like Japanese for like a second. Really,
really,
I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so.
Oh, that's what they say in that song. I'm dead
The
serious, I
more
have no
you know.
or you know, da-na-na.
No, it is something that's confusing to me on your channel because I do watch your videos,
I
but
jump all over the
but
place.
before anything is ever finished, there's a new series up. Like when I'm going through my subscription feed, and then I see, oh, Resident Evil part whatever, I watch that, and then I'll wait for the next one, and then you're like on a new game, and I'm like, Monica or Darkovika, where are you going with this? Where's the finish of the games?
It's kind of just, well, my channel, first of all, I don't make like any money off of my channel, so there's no like, if I don't do this, I'm not gonna meet this month's quota or anything. It's quota. It's me literally playing games with a community that's really amazing, and me just kind of having fun with a bunch of people. So it's kind of like I play whatever I want to play. And if I'm not in the mood for a game, then I don't want to play it because it is going to affect my commentary if I'm playing this game that I don't want to play.
That's true.
Yeah,
I
can see
mean,
that.
I'm
That's
very staggered with the games that I stream. For a long time, I streamed Skyrim, and that was where the audience was and everything like that. But then I started streaming indie games and like Binding of Isaac, Meat Bag or whatever it's called,
Boy,
Yeah,
Meat Boy, Meat Sack or Meat Boy.
I think it's Meat Boy. Meat sack.
by the
Just a lot of meat. There's a lot of meat going on right now.
that is right. So Binding of Isaac is made by the same company that made Meat Boy.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I actually
it's
want
completely two
to.
different games.
I also play Ultra Street Fighter 4,
Ooh.
but that's just something like,
Anybody still playing Justice? Hands up? Just me?
no. Oh, H1Z1, you gotta try that too. If you're into that, like, survival.
Like I had that
horror.
kind of turned off for me because I was watching PewDiePie. He decided to go and play just like a bunch of survival horror games, and H1Z1 took like 20 hours to load up.
Wow.
Dang.
On your computer?
Not on mine. It was in his video
Oh.
on his super mega ultra machine. It was really funny. Like the first half of the video was him sitting there staring at the loading. It was like you have to wait in a queue, and he was like, "Okay,
Oh, that
I'll
was
put that
for-
over on this screen, and let's pull up the next game."
That's for, like, the Battle Royale stuff. Like, it's kind of like arena based, and you kind of go in with all kinds of players and kill each other, but there's an actual like server gameplay, like a normal MMO.
That's what he was doing. He was on a server. He's running around getting like a car and stuff. He ran after someone in through a forest, and
No, I'm pretty sure that was a battle royale though.
I have no idea what to tell you.
Well, we'll just take his word for it and call it a day.
Yeah. Another recommendation for your viewers and for you guys is The Novelist. If you've heard about that at all, go watch that
The
trailer.
Violinist. That's a good movie. Or no, The Illusion.
Well, no, I mean like you're a ghost inside a family's house, but you're not.
Oh, I do remember this.
You're not exactly haunting them, but you're kind of like you're affecting their lives, so to speak, with the choices that you make and the stuff that you choose to intervene with. It's a lot deeper than that. You guys should just look up The Novelist. It's a really good game.
I dig it.
And if you guys are into reading, there's a mobile game out, and I know I posted, on your page, I think at one point, Peter, but it's called 80 Days. If you guys haven't played that yet, I think for you, Peter, it's definitely a good plus to play it. It's the design, it's all reading based. And
Life.
What?
Thank you very much. Reading is life. Thank you very much.
I went a couple years without reading, actually, and I'm actually quite learned. Moving on.
Learned.
Learn it.
Back to the rich vocabulary.
This guy over here. This guy.
Open, yeah. Anyway, though.
No, I think I went with Gossamer earlier.
Yeah, nice wordplay.
I thought you were talking about Ryan Gosling for a second. I was like,
No, Gossamer isn't the word.
isn't that like a goose elf?
Oh, Gossamer?
A goose
Gossamer refers to something that's very, very smooth or very, very soft. Very
Oh, I get what you're saying.
He said a goose elf.
Gossamer thread
Smooth.
or Gossamer landing would be a smooth landing.
Smooth and soft. Darkovika, smooth and soft.
Like my
Smooth and soft.
Like butter.
Okay. Back to 80 days. before these- But that gets any worse for anyone else watching or listening in. But yeah, 80 days though, it's basically you play as this guy, as this master servant, this French guy, right? He comes home one day and he's like, "Hey, we're on a bet. We're gonna go around the world in 80 days." So you literally set course. He gives you open access to his pocket, like his bank account, and all that stuff, and you have to basically travel from London around the whole world, and you take any route you want to, and you go. I don't remember how many cities countries they had added in there, but there are so many, and not all of them will be available to you depending on what you choose to buy from the markets and how you trade and how you interact with other people when you're aboard those. It's steampunk era, so it's like out of London. So like they do more steampunk, how it looks for other countries, like in Africa, how it look in America the current year. I think it's in 1886. I can't remember. It's somewhere close to when the order takes place, but it's that whole idea. But you basically go around the whole globe in 80 days, and the experience, it's never the same if you don't try to make it the same. So you make one decision that's different, your entire course goes completely different than what you had. Like I tried to go the same way I did before because I knew where I made a mistake at. I couldn't even figure out what I did beforehand to get to there, because it's like your first choice will interrupt, let's say something I said to someone in London changes something that happens, let's say if I land out in Tehran or something like that. And those things can come back and haunt you, and it's all these different things. Like I almost got touched by some guy in a mask at Mardi Gras when we were in America. So
That could be taken out of context.
It's random. Like no, that really is like he literally wanted to kiss me. Like he was like coming on to me, and I was just like, this is going farther than I thought it was. Like, dude, I just wanted to know how to get out of here. Like it's stuff like that, and like how you we got trapped and captured by like jungle people, and I got beat up by a boxer on the train. It's things happen, and it's like they're craziest stories, but they all like sync up as like one huge adventure. And
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, like design-wise, it was really well put, really well put together, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I don't really like reading.
We gotta save games for the next episode, man. We're getting carried away.
Right.
I've got a plethora of games. Trust me.
A plethora.
Yeah, there you go. Plethora.
Yes, our words of the day keep flowing, kiddos. You guys are gonna learn from us.
Learned.
Put in the comments below. Put in the comments below.
What word do you want us to try and pronounce next week?
The words that you want us don't include definitions. Words
Or
you want us to
pronunciation,
use
just type
in
it.
a sentence.
Yeah,
Hippopotamonstrosesquipedaliophobia is not allowed.
Or a super
Wow.
calidocious.
That's not actually a word.
It's not, but I don't want to see it in there either because someone will try to say that, and I'm like, nope, not using that word.
Last recommendation: Life is Strange.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys have.
Yeah.
I haven't played it because I save most games like that for my channel, but I'm kind of waiting because every channel's doing it.
Yeah, that's kind of a thing.
Yeah,
about
but
having
then like I know what you mean, but like that should be an indicator of how good it is.
It is, but like it's kind of it's one of those things that's really tricky.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll probably wind up doing it soon, but it's like I have to be in the mood for it.
I know I definitely didn't picture myself.
Still waiting for the next Amnesia.
I didn't picture myself enjoying a game where I would be role playing as a 16-year-old girl, but
Right? Yeah. No, I don't think anybody did.
It's,
I don't think anybody
That
did.
is totally true.
it is done very well. It is.
So I hear my sister's girlfriend has the game.
All right.
That it was really good.
Oh, okay. Well,
Praises. Yeah, I was just adding to the thing. Someone I know sings its praises very often. That was literally it.
It was so specific, and like, now we know something about your sisters, like really just boom, we're like, oh right, okay, cool.
Sorry, to everybody in the audience, they actually know my sister, so it was
It's like I've never met her, and I'm just like, well, I already know more than I know of most people that I meet.
not only do I now know you have a sister, but now I also know this.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, yeah, just had to take that in with, oh, her girlfriend has the game. All right, that's the key to this, not everything else. Got it.
All right.
Cool.
All right, so we're just going to move on to our next segment, which explains the title of this podcast, Dev Against the Machine. So every episode will be covering an aspect of game development, which I don't think is something that is quite covered nearly enough in a lot of gaming podcasts. So that's why we're going to tackle it here. So in this week's episode, we're covering programming. And this is Darkovika's domain, so with that said, I'm
now I
gonna
get to
let her
shine.
go. Yes, go for it.
So, okay, first of all, one thing I want to cover is that, like, when I was watching a lot of YouTubers playing Lucius 2, which was a really cool game that came out, I started noticing a trend, and that's that programmers get blamed for a lot of stuff that isn't programming. It's the same thing with, like, Sonic Boom, but let's not even get started on Sonic Boom. It was like whenever there was visual tearing or like Z fighting, come on programmers, what's wrong with you? Get that fixed. And I'm like, excuse me.
Oh my gosh, I hate to cut it right here, but I had a roommate who was also a programmer for like, I think like 3 weeks or something like that. But it gets funny really quick. But I remember he would always try to talk like how great he was, right? And so I'm watching him play Assassin's Creed. He's got his friends over. He's trying to be cool, and I'm sitting here behind him like I'm on my laptop just doing some homework. But I'm listening because I eavesdrop because people are interested sometimes. But this guy was particularly kind of like a cross between a douche and a dumbass. Like he was both. Like it was just like you have a hard time listening to him because if you know anything about games in this particular scenario that he sounds retarded,
like an absolute idiot. Yo, I love those people.
So he's playing Assassin's Creed. He's running through. He's like, oh my gosh, look how good this programming is. And I'm like, what are you looking at? Like that's telling the programming's so good. Because I know normally it's like you can tell more on when you're playing.
How can you see the programming? Did you crack open the game?
Exactly. So I was like,
dude, I just walked past the most gnarliest brackets.
Oh my god, did you see that float back there? She had some digits, man.
That function performed the ass out of itself.
I was so, like, I was just like, as a designer, I was like, I know you're full of shit because I have looked into what programmers do because I had to make my decision what I wanted to do when I got to school. Like I need to have some kind of, what I need to focus on when I was here. So to hear him like talk about how good the animations are because the program does such a good job and like the colors and like the way the buildings were placed, I'm like, I only think you're like 2% right on what you just said. Like, it was just like I was going to ask you. Yeah, I was at a loss, so I couldn't correct him. It still baffles me today that like someone in programming would say something like that. Yeah, and people would just like soak that in, like, oh my gosh, this guy knows what he's talking about.
He said the word programming. He knows what he's talking about.
He just knows.
He said the word code. He must be a brilliant man.
What was he referring to?
So I was going to ask you: is it actually possible to like start playing a game that let's say isn't online, so you because so I think it's a little easier to tell if programming is bad or good online when it comes to certain things. But like a one-player game, let's say Oblivion or Assassin's Creed or any other title like that, can you walk in a game, play for a little bit, and kind of get a sense of how good the programming is? Is that typically something you have to kind of wait for? Essentially.
See, it depends on like what part of the game that you're looking at. Like if you're looking at, say, how the inventory pops up, how key bindings are handled, how many options you have to affect the game. Let's say we're looking at an indie game.
Right.
I open up an indie game. If I open up the settings and there isn't an option to change resolution, if there isn't an option to change, like that had to be implemented somewhere by a programmer, no matter how quick it takes. So that's something that was either ignored or left out because it was too difficult for someone to figure out. You can always tell when someone is more of an artist or more of a programmer in indie games, because there will either be some really interesting things, like they'll have a lantern that works, they'll be able to pick up items. Those items will look absolutely horrible. Or say an artist, the game will look really pretty, but it's just you walking around and witnessing events. And that's not true. Programming. That's just placing down events and like stopping movement for a couple seconds.
Scripting. Okay.
There's also that middle ground where you're a designer and you take other people's good-looking stuff, and then you block it out, and then you kind of just go with some scripting that you've learned. Hey, look, I'm talking about myself.
It also, like, if you come into contact with really good AI, that's just really cool. Like, say you start fighting something. Like, Shadow of Mordor, for instance, had some really interesting AI. That's a moment where you go, this programming.
The Nemesis system.
I feel it. Yeah. That's a moment where you sit there and you go, ooh, this was made well.
A little bit tip for anyone listening, you have to play Shadow of Mordor. If you haven't, shoot yourself. You need to play it.
Really good. As a Lord of the Rings game,
if they shoot themselves, they won't be able to play it.
Yeah, that makes it a little difficult.
Okay,
that makes it a little difficult.
It's just like the over thing when I said I had an orgasm for a game. That never happens. It's just, it's a saying. It's a thing.
It's a hypothetical.
Yeah, it's like they don't need to actually shoot themselves. I feel bad if someone committed suicide on my behalf. Like, I'd feel terrible. Even though, like, I kill for a living as a mercenary, but still, that wouldn't be nice. Suicides aren't cool.
Disclaimer. He's not an actual mercenary.
See, that's what she tells people, but little do they know.
No, but yeah,
we know.
Programming.
Hey,
programming, it's like
back in middle school, man. You don't
a lot of people don't actually realize that a lot of things that you see in a game are not programming errors. Programming errors are things that you generally don't see. Oh, that was a car. Yeah. They're more often the things that you feel. Like, for example, terrible programming would be that one time I was playing Fusion Fall, which was, once upon a time, one of my favorite MMOs of all time, before Cartoon Network decided to take a shit on it.
That's why she hates Brown.
All right. So the reason the programming was bad, first of all, Cartoon Network has terrible programmers. Good Lord, these people are probably paid nothing because they must hate their jobs or something. I don't know. Yeah. I walked into a mission that hadn't existed before because originally Fusion Fall was owned, or rather maintained and created by a different company, but that company went under. So Cartoon Network took over the game themselves. They owned it, but they didn't work on it. But when that other company went down, Cartoon Network started changing everything, and they're really not good at making games. So they added in this mission, and I literally sat and wrote this out. I literally sat and figured out the algorithm behind this horrible quest. It was impossible. It was literally impossible to beat with the amount of people that I had trying to get that server, or not that server, get that quest. There were 4 things that you had to kill. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, no, there were 4 things total. You had to kill 5 out. All right, hang on. Let me phrase this. You had to kill 5 monsters in the quest. There were only 4 in that area. When they died, it took 90 seconds for them to respawn. I counted.
You told me about
90
this. Okay.
seconds for them to respawn. And each one spawned about, so that was about like 30 seconds apart. Oh, and you also only had a minute to do this.
Oh wow.
You had
I
a
remember
minute to
this
do this.
conversation.
Yes, you've heard this. This is my terrible programming rant. And then I pulled back to try and maybe reach out through the chat system to everyone to see if we could work together to get rid of this awful quest. The word "for" was asterisked out for no reason. Words that had no reason to be bleeped out were bleeped out. I don't know. Like, someone was sitting at Cartoon Network going, "Oh, potato's a bad word. I gotta add that to the ban list." Number 4, we can't. Because, like, the word "two," TWO, not banned. The word "three," not banned. 4, banned. 5, banned. 6, not banned. Even though that's pretty close to something that's probably, you know, that might have a reason to be banned. Nope. 7, not banned. 8, banned. 9, banned. 0, banned. There was nothing. There was no intelligence behind what words were banned and what words weren't.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see the algorithm there.
All right, it wasn't explained really much as an algorithm. The math behind it was just really bad. Like, there really wasn't any intelligence behind how that quest was programmed. It was just, yeah, I think 90 is a good number for how, I don't know, this, you know, we'll let them respawn at 90. No one tested it. They just...
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you attribute it to a lot of just bad QA though? Like, you know, just...
Possibly. They might not have just had any QA at all.
Yeah.
Knowing Cartoon Network, they were just like, yeah, ship it. It's done. It runs. There are no bugs. Go. But sir, there might be runtime. Nope, ship it. But you don't understand. No, there's no bugs. It says no bugs. Ship it. It's done.
Yeah. I primarily attribute programming errors to, like, things that just, like, glitches, basically, that don't...
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you fall through the world, or if you, like, say you get stuck in an area that's like you're not supposed to even be able to reach, or a door that's supposed to be unlocked is locked. Like in an Amnesia mod, I came into like this would probably be considered a programming error. I don't know how odds or
designers too.
Exactly. Yeah, it could have happened.
Yeah, because I know when world building in like in Fallout or anything in the creation kit or the Garden of Eden creation kits, you can play with the collision they have. If you even leave like a little bit of a gap where you've got something overlapping, and you try hard enough, you can oftentimes, you know, either phase through that like 1 pixel space, or get trapped or stuck there. And that's just, you know, because you place the objects, you know, haphazardly or, you know, not with enough care. Especially when I'm just trying to snap together.
That, like, it drives me crazy with Z fighting, because Z fighting is, programmers are always blamed for Z fighting.
Talk to the dice makers of any of their multiplayer maps, because all their maps, there's always one portion that Z fights like hell. There's a billboard in Hardline where you look at it from a distance and it Z fights. It's huge.
And you're just like, stop!
And I'm like, I know what that is. Turn it off.
Okay, so for the audience and for the listeners who don't know, Z fighting is when two meshes are colliding on the same Z axis, and so they're trying to fight between each other.
Which one takes priority?
Yeah.
Or which one is visible? They're basically lying right on top of each other, these two meshes, and the textures are fighting to be seen.
Yeah.
And they show up like zigzags. The texture kind of like not like.
It looks like there's some kind of weird zigzagging going on. And then
I'll put a little reference in the corner of the video after in post.
Yeah, we'll be able to find an image. But the only other thing I wanted to talk about programming was that for anybody who wanted to become a programmer, it takes a lot of practice, a lot of effort, and a lot of patience, and a lot of love. If you don't love programming, you are in for a long haul, because programming is not about loving your ending, like what you gain, what you end up with. It's not about, yes, I finished this. That was like, I'm so happy I finished this. It's about enjoying the part before finishing it. Like, puzzle. Yeah, exactly. The puzzle, the challenge. It's when you finish it, you're like, all right, next thing. And then that's your next fix, is your next programming challenge, is taking that next level and actually trying to figure it out, piece it together, take the logic. Maybe you're coming up with algorithms and you don't even realize it. I was never mathematically inclined, but I love programming. I love the challenge, the challenges, the problem solving, the fact that it's kind of like life. Like when you're programming, it's like sitting there and realizing that all problems can be fixed. All problems have an answer, no matter how difficult that answer is to reach. And that's kind of part of the fun of life is those challenges, is meeting those difficulties and finding a way to see them through. And that's what programming is. You have to understand that it's a little bit more than just math and physics and science. It is life.
It's logic too, a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly. A lot of it is logic, and it's absolutely fascinating because it is pushing your own thoughts forward. You are constantly learning and programming. You will never know everything. You will never go into the industry like Brent and be like, I know absolutely everything. I'm set.
By the way, for y'all who don't know.
Yeah.
He's the
Brent.
legendary boss that
Legendary boss at the end of
Game
like a
boss.
Dark Souls game.
But of programming.
Yeah, of programming.
Well, I mean, to that point, like I remember when we were working on my game, and I would constantly tell Darkovika, "Hey, I don't mean to I don't mean to insist this upon you. I don't want to take up any more time if you have anything planned." And she's sitting there looking at the code, like super freaking like focused and like, I'm gonna freaking solve this, no matter how much time it takes, unless my mom's like here to pick you up or something or whatever.
I'm like, dang it. I gotta go.
I mean, it's something that you have to kind of just sit there and just, plant your roots and just go for it.
Oh yeah,
100%.
definitely.
I think that like it's insightful in its own right as well. But I think that could be said for almost every aspect of the game industry, though.
That is true. You have to
there's
really
no-
love everything that you're doing.
'Cause
All
there
of
really
it is
isn't-
tedious if we really get down to the nitty gritty.
I mean, because when we were working on Priority 1, that was no way just oh yeah, I'm just making this. It was like you were pulling teeth the whole
man.
time. You were like, it was a lot of just trying to get what you had already done to work so you can move on to the next best thing.
So much about my life and relationship, Priority 1. That was just...
That
I
was
can't
a
tell you-
project.
Yeah, I can't even tell you how many dates I was going on where I would just kind of walk off to the side and sit down and open up Facebook and just
Oh my
solving
gosh, my
problems.
mother got pissed off on my birthday celebration because we went to Universal City Walk, or we went to Universal Studios for the first time. Me with my family, because otherwise I'm usually never with them, being out here, and I'm sitting, on my phone on Facebook, replying to, being chewed out for everything that I didn't have control over at the time. I'm like, look, whatever you want to happen can happen, and sitting there trying to, do damage control, and it's just like, oh my god, I'm like listening to the team get pissed off, and my mom about to kill me physically.
Yeah.
So like
Yep.
I've been there, like I mean, not as I'd say as nor as extreme as what you went through, but like.
Oh yeah, no. My boyfriend was absolutely wonderful. He was very, very willing to sit there and really go, not go through it, I guess, but he would try.
Distance.
Yeah, he would try his absolute hardest to understand, but eventually you can't force someone to understand something that they
Totally.
yeah, it happens.
Like my grandfather still kind of bites me in the butt for choosing game over going to be a lawyer, because he always wanted to take pride in like his grandchildren and his children graduating from like high top colleges. Not that I wasn't capable, but it's just I get really bored in general ed. Period. Like I sleep in all my classes. I still get A's. For,
Not good A's for sleeping.
That's what can be said about general eds. You sleep in all of them, you still get A's.
You just gotta pass the class. And it was like, look, if I went to lawyering, like just my philosophy on people in general wouldn't allow me to be a very nice lawyer to people, because especially if I get someone I know is guilty, like I'm gonna plead innocent. I'm like, dude, that's not gonna work for me. Like we both know. Anyway, but back to the point. It's like I've been, I've from day one, going as a designer. People are like, well, that's variable income. You don't know, and this and that. And I'm like, look, I spend most of my time in a dark room behind a computer, messing with mods, messing with games daily already. If I do it while getting paid, I don't think
It's even better.
of an
It's
issue.
a win-win. Yeah, it's a win-win.
And at the end of the day, it's a computer science, and I'm well worth it, able to do IT work if I just want to do it for fun out of my backyard anyway. So it's like there's still more avenues I can take anyway, but I definitely come from like my only father figure, like not really being behind the career choice.
Yeah.
Always being second guessed, because I'm not doing athletics or things like that. So.
Oh no, I hear you. Everyone I knew was really confused when I said I was going to be a video game programmer. I mean, you play 13 and a half instruments. People just kind of assume they know where you're going to go. so like when I was like, oh no, I'm not going to be a musician, and everyone was like, you're not? And I was like, no. And they were like, why not? And I was like, because I want to be a programmer. And they were like, but you're not good at that. You should only do what you're good at. And I was like, hey now, let me just for a second explain that you can't tell me what to do. And
yeah, well, I come from a Filipino family, so every one of us should be singers.
oh wow.
No matter what, you know.
Oh my god.
That's like saying I should play basketball.
Every time we have like parties and
Oh
stuff.
god.
Every time we have parties, and literally everybody knows what I do, except my parents. When they're like, "Hey, show them how you sing," I'm like, "No, I'm not going to show them how I sing. I don't sing. Let's do karaoke." I'm like, no.
It's really funny to explain to my students too when they're like, Coach Monica, what college did you go to for music? And I'm like, I didn't. I'm the only teacher
This one
where I
time
worked.
at band camp.
Yeah, well, yeah. And yeah, that was a hard one to explain to one of my students because he came in the other day with like 5 sheets of paper and he had questions on all of them. And he goes, I have homework I need your help with. And I was like, oh, are your parents okay with this? And he was like, yep. I was like, all right, 30 minutes, let's go. Because I teach 30-minute lessons at the place that I work. And so he was sitting there and his homework was basically, like, it took me a little while to figure it out. But he was asking me all these questions like, what college did you go to? What do you want to achieve with your life? What do you want to do for the rest of your life? What is, you know, what is your dream? Tell me about your life. Tell me about how you grew up and stuff. And eventually I realized that these were like 20 questions you have to ask your role model. And I was just sitting there like, oh,
I'm flattered.
I'm so flattered. Oh.
I am flattered by your words.
Yep, by your actions. It was really cute. This is the same student though who's like, he's really blunt. Like this student is super, oh wait, no, this is the student who found my YouTube channel. Hang on. I just realized that, whoops.
You be careful though, little kids get attached and sometimes it gets kind of creepy.
Oh no, he's a good kid. He's one of my best students. He practices every single week. He's one of the furthest students in piano, not just theory, but he can improvise. He has a really good music ear. I'm sorry, I could go on and on about my students. I'm really proud of them. One of my little ones, she's like a 4th grader. She plays the violin. And this may or may not mean anything to you guys, but like one day I was like, okay, this is going to be a C major chord and we're going to go to E minor. And before I could say anything, she stands there and goes, oh, okay, so that means I could play this note, and this note, and then that note will work in E minor because it's still part of the major 3 chord, the major 3 notes of the chord. And I sat there and just like a 7-year-old talking like music theory. And I was just like, I'm so proud. Come give me a hug.
Do you ever fumble on yourself and like go into programming? He's like, okay, we're gonna play the C sharp, C++.
No, but I do teach a lot of math in my lessons, and I don't talk down to my students. Like I never, okay, so like the word gossamer, I use really big words in all of my lessons, even if they're like 3. So they're like sitting there and they're like, Coach Monica, and I'm like, yeah, and they're like, what does gossamer mean? So it's really funny. I said wax eloquent once to one of my 10th grade students, and he was like, what even did you just say? Was that English?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know what that means.
Wax eloquent?
Yeah.
It means, so the way I think it means, I've never actually like looked it up, but using it properly and hearing it used properly and reading it used properly, think of it like the moon. When it waxes and wanes, when it waxes, the moon is getting bigger, right?
Yeah.
Or fuller, rather. We can see more of it.
Yeah.
When you wax eloquent, you are becoming more eloquent. When you generally referred to words, so like if you're waxing eloquent, you're becoming more eloquent with your words.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of like all kinds of idioms, when you wax nostalgic.
Exactly. Yeah. See, there you go. Wax nostalgic.
Okay. Wax.
I don't know. I've always thought that like when in the middle of your lessons, you would always fumble.
No, actually, there's not a whole lot of relation to programming in music.
I'm saying when you're saying like, okay, we're gonna play a C++ chord. I mean,
no, it would be like first of all, C sharp chords are the devil, and Second of all, it's enough where I'm in a mindset that it never happens. Like, I never stumble like that. There's like a section of my brain that's music and a section of my brain that's programming, and the two of them are generally not on at the same time, because then that gets confusing.
Yeah, I can switch between like artist mode and designer mode. 'Cause, you know, as a designer, you still have to like pick up on like the artist lingo and know what they do. And in case you do it yourself, so you take the time, but like
helps when programmers can do that too. Like, that happened at the beginning of last quarter, like when Johnny was like, all right, so what programs are you going to be using? And Jen was like, we're planning on using this, and this. And I was sitting there like, mwah, 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 mwah. And I was like, I don't know anything they just said.
Well, like I always say, like a designer has to kind of be an encyclopedia.
Exactly.
And you have to know your history. You have to know your how to write. And you have to know how to be an artist too, because you have to be able to
to those guys.
stick to a certain art direction and a theme, and make sure that your art team is following the theme that you want to achieve in your design doc. But that's for another episode. Going back to programming, what would you say is probably the most difficult thing about programming, aside from like time and, you know, commitment and all that?
That is an easy answer. It's the fact that it's not actually a difficult thing. Learning programming itself and really getting into programming is not hard. What's hard is people's perceptions about it and your own perceptions. You can easily convince yourself that the thing you're trying to program is not going to happen. It's very easy to look at something and think that's really hard. And that's actually very dangerous to think in programming, because once you stop thinking like you're a badass, once you stop looking at something like, I'm going to do that. If you're not thinking, I'm going to solve that, I'm going to figure this out, I can do this, it's going to be really hard. You're going to sit there and you're going to be thinking, why am I doing this? Why is this so hard? Am I stupid? And people come up to you and they're looking at things that you're doing and they're going, wow, that's really hard. And you have to stand there and go, not for me, it isn't. And you're not being a jerk. You're not being pretentious. You're pretty much just saving your butt. You have to stand there and really convince yourself this isn't hard, because it isn't. It's all mind. It's all in your head.
There's definitely a lot of truth to that, because I remember the first time that me and Ian got into intro to scripting with Brent, and we were touching on console programming, like just doing console write line and stuff like that, and just doing those small little applications. And you know, the first 2 weeks, me and Ian were just like complaining outside, like, why are we learning this? We should be learning about games and stuff like that. And then the next week, we were all like competing with each other, trying to make the most complicated freaking console applications in the world. And
and that's what it is.
Yeah.
Programming is more than games. You have to understand those basics. A lot of people didn't understand that when they would start learning programming. They thought, okay, I'm gonna go make a game. You can't. You have to learn the basics. You have to start where every other computer scientist, every other programmer started before you, with the very basics. How to make a text-based game, how to make something extremely simple. Make your computer say hi to you. Always start simple. If you try to get the whole thing done, like, that's actually a really big problem I'm having with some of the stuff that you're having me do, Peter. I keep trying to tackle the whole thing in a single go, and I have to stop, start over, and take it way simpler. Just get it to work. Put the flair in later. Like, add the next steps. Make it work, make it make sound. Then make it trigger the sound. Then make it trigger the sound only when A is true. Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you start with, I know what I want, so I'm just going to make it all in one go, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen unless you're Brent. Unless you're Brent.
Sing this guy's praises, man.
Yeah.
hey, tier 2 rating.
There's not a single programmer you will meet at AI that does not worship Brent. He actually announced today that it's his last quarter at AI.
Oh, what? I ain't gonna check him yet.
Yeah, that sucks. I can't freaking...
But it had to happen, you know what I mean?
I always have
that's
Facebook,
true.
never mind.
Yeah, exactly. We can always reach him. He's not gone. He's just not going to be at AI.
Well, I know
Well,
that.
He's living his life as a video
Some
game
people easier than most, considering how much you hog his attention. Hey Brent, what's wrong with this line? Hold on, talking to Monica. 30 minutes later.
Well, because he doesn't even, 90% of the time, he doesn't give me any answers. It's just me sitting there bouncing stuff off of him, and he's just going, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
You're not doing enough
so what does that
DPS.
Huh?
You're not doing enough DPS. He's just reflecting everything.
Yeah.
His resistance level's too high.
Was with priority 1, like he stayed up with me until like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like literally on the floor talking insane psychobabble, and he's like, okay, Monica, so how are you doing on that blueprint? Have you figured it out yet? And I'm like, the square root of Cinderella's shoe, you don't understand, is the answer to this equation. You have to get the pumpkin. You have to.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he's like, at 4 o'clock in the morning, I do not make any sense. I don't even know how I fixed half of the problems I did at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I do that stuff intentionally. When I just want somebody to just like back off, I'm just gonna start talking gibberish and just be like, listen, you gotta start losing the squirrel because the shovel hits the door at a certain angle.
Don't
And he's just like,
understand.
what?
The purple baboon will only come out when the moon is eating the leprechaun. Like, the pebbles do not sing the national anthem. Okay?
Yeah, but
Mushroom.
four-leaf clovers
Sounds
are
like you guys are
plastic.
I understand what you are rapping, but the color of the roof tiles are only relevant if the metal is green.
Listen, you can only illuminate so much, so just stop.
I could go
high
on
five,
forever.
gibberish.
Gibberish speak is my favorite, but
Mercenary's just like, what the
Yeah. I'm not gonna interject here. I'm gonna let them have this moment because I'm just like, I'll wait for
is
the programming
happening?
session. Yeah.
what
I'll
are
wait.
they saying? Mercenary's like, guys, come help me. I'm scared.
Where'd my chicken
like-
go?
All right, man. Keep it up.
I need some stability in my life. Where's my chicken?
It wasn't even fried.
Oh, that's even better.
It was baked.
That's healthier.
It was baked.
Yeah, it was baked.
Where'd you get it? Washington, Colorado?
No, the Ralph's down the street.
Damn, it's illegal then.
Okay, well, that's weird. I guess. I'm
Chicken
not-
from down the street is illegal.
Ralph's from down the street's what I said. Okay.
Wow, that was even more gibberish than whatever the hell I was saying.
Well, we're gonna cut this part out. You said he was baked. You said he was baked, so I was like, okay.
I said the chicken was baked.
Oh, it's a drugs joke.
Yes.
Claps for Monica. Thank you
there's-
for catching on.
You know, when that moment when you say to yourself, 1, 2, 3, oh, I get it.
That was that moment.
I get it.
It's like when you're writing, like for like a document or something. You're just writing, and then all of a sudden you just write, "I'm stupid." What?
That actually happened once when I was writing a fan fiction for Kingdom Hearts. I used to talk about how I had an inner Roxas. He insulted me a lot. One time I was typing and I was like, man, why did I do that? And then all of a sudden, I'm stupid was on the screen and I was like, all right there, calm down. Calm down.
I sometimes read back things I wrote in the first time and I just kind of go, what the hell was I writing? Like, it's just like, that's why I'm just going to stop sending first drafts because like during the first draft, I'm just like, what the heck was that? And I just go like, I'm just going to go ahead and just redo
That
that.
baked chicken.
Jeez.
That's a-
Welcome to the episode that was supposed to be an hour long.
Oh, yeah, what is this? What are we at, like 2 hours?
Where are we at? Yeah.
We're at 1:34.
There we go.
Actually,
it's not
well, I
bad.
started. Okay. There's a little bit of leeway because I started recording a little bit.
He had like the bloopers and all that stuff while I was still getting my chicken and all that stuff. And
Yes,
rice,
specific.
chicken and rice. It just wasn't chicken, it was chicken and rice. And my pills, okay?
Con pollo con arroz.
Whatever
the
she just said in whatever language that was.
Spanish, it was chicken with rice.
I don't know Spanish. I know a little French.
I love it when the voice activation doesn't actually like work most of the time, and then that word Spanish comes out as Anish.
Oh, Anish. Amish. I was speaking Amish. That's what it was. Anyways.
All right.
Clap
All
along
right.
there.
Is there any last kind of things you want to say about programming, especially in game development?
Mostly it's just you have to be really patient, but you also have to really have faith in everything that you're doing. You have to be ready to explain why you're right, because people are going to question you. Other programmers are going to question you. Everyone's going to question you. It is part of the line of work that you're about to do. And half the time, people are going to ask for stuff like, hey, where's my timer? And you're like, what timer? And they're like, the timer. And you're like, oh, yes, the timer. Give me 5 minutes. And you're sitting there like, nobody told me about no freaking timer. Oh, my fucking God. I'm so pissed. I'm going to fucking make this timer. Oh, my fucking God. And then, like, outside, you're like, yeah, timer. Look, it's right here. Duh.
That's a bad inside joke. It's
No, the funny thing about that, what she says under her breath, is that I hear it most of the time. So I know.
Peter does hear it. Peter does. He's like sitting next to me, and I'm sitting there like, motherfucker, you people didn't tell me about this bullshit.
just like how, it's during those times when someone asks you for where something at, and you're like, look, as the lead, I wasn't told that was necessary. And I'm like, you would have thought that I would have known. And he's like, well, I told the art lead, because she needed to know. Right.
My favorite moment was when someone mentioned something that we needed, and I was looking at them like, what? And then I was like looking at them like, what are you talking about? And they were like, yeah, I was talking to Anthony about it. And I was like, okay, that's nice. That's nice. Anthony is not responsible for telling me things. If you want something, you need to tell me, not Anthony.
Gotta love him.
Yeah.
Gotta love him.
And that's going to happen. That's another piece of advice. If you're a programmer, there's a good chance that, you're going to wind up doing so much work that doesn't even end up being used. It happens with everybody in the game industry. An artist may be asked to make something that never gets put into the game. A programmer may be asked to make an aspect of the game that later gets scrapped. And you're like, I spent 48 hours on that. And they're like, yeah, well, we didn't like it after all. We're going to ditch it. But you always save your work, because a week later they'll go, hey, you remember that thing we told you was really crap? Yeah, bring that back.
We want it.
Yeah, we want it. We changed our minds. Where is it? On my desk in 5 minutes. And you're like, but I deleted it.
Well, that's the wonder of working at an actual studio and having Perforce at your disposal, because you'll always have your work, no matter what, and all versions of that work. And nobody will be able to touch it while you're working on it, so you'll never have, multiple versions flying around and floating around.
Should probably, put a little link as well explaining Perforce, just so those who don't know, like we did with all the with Z fighting and all that stuff. Just so
Everyone will soon be game industry masters like us.
when you call, I wouldn't call what I do a mastery. It's more like hit or miss work that I typically hope does very well. But I'm already used to scrapping ideas that people don't like. I'm not too attached to my work. I just like what I do. It's fun, so I do it. And that's, I think, like you were saying earlier about programs, you have to love what you do, otherwise why do it? So I looked out in the passion field, so I never have to second guess what I'm doing. It's like either it works or it don't. Just keep making it new, So
Agreed. 100%.
So just to clear it up for anybody that's listening, what is a programmer primarily responsible for in a game? Just name stuff that
AI, physics, let's see. You can really sum it up to those two things. AI, physics, you got HUD, you got heads up displays, HUD. You got GUI, GUI. You got basically anything that has a cause and effect. You knock into a barrel, it tips over, that's programming. You open up your inventory and there's items there that you actually have, that's programming. You have a bank account in the game, that's programming. You got things that need to be remembered every time you open the game, like a load file or a save file, that's programming. You got, let's see, When you press W, your character goes forward. That's programming. When you decide you want to press T and your character goes forward, that's programming. So
that's actually a really good explanation for programming cause and effect.
Yeah, actually, I was like, wow, that sums it up pretty nicely.
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out where that doesn't work,
effect.
but it's just like, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, one more question, though. Hopefully, it's not going to be a super long answer now. Because, like I said, I particularly when it comes to modding for me now, I've done some mods from games 2004, and my most recent stuff I take to, like creation kit and stuff from there. For games like Elder Scrolls, which I know you've played by now, if you never dove or dived, whatever the
Delved.
That's what it is. Is that real word? That sounds weird. Delved into like the creation kit or the Garden of Eden kit. As a designer, I know the guys at Bethesda do a lot of the scripting and stuff, but I know it uses like if and then statements. I know they're using Papyrus now, but when does it go from designer to programmer when it comes to the scripting and stuff like that? Because we do cause and effect. Some of the scripts that are written for
designers will often take over anything that's visual. So let's see, more visual per se than is math or anything. Because programmers, we become very egotistical. If they come up to us and they're like, hey, I want my character's hair to move when there's breeze, we'll look at them and be like, that's not my job. Excuse me, I'm a programmer. That's an artist's job. And like we get very egotistical. We're like, that's not a challenge. It's why I actually don't like inventory, because not inventory. I like inventory. Inventory's hard. You have to figure that out. I don't like things that appear on screen, like buttons or click this, do this, or that kind of thing, because that's very just visual. And it's literally just, all right, now I gotta find these coordinates on the screen. Is this the coordinate? Nope, gotta do it different. Is this the coordinate? Nope. It's trial and error. It's not thought process. It's just trial and error.
Okay.
Well, there's also another answer to that, and in regards to Elder Scrolls, the programmers are actually responsible for writing and programming the tools that you use. Right. So the designers design, like, so for example, Papyrus and any of the tools you use to make dialogue branches and stuff like that in Skyrim, the programmers wrote those tools, and the designers are there kind of just inserting the NPC and then putting in the little dialogue and using those tools to make the dialogue that the programmers programmed. So
that's awesome. I would dig that.
So anything with like creation kit or anything proprietary. Like,
that's what the programmers are there for. They make those. And that kind of stuff, that's awesome, because that requires like thought process, really thinking about what you're trying to achieve as an end goal versus, is this the right coordinate? Nah, I'm off by like 2 on the Z. How about this one? No, I'm off by 2 on the X. When is my life over?
I totally got it. Thank you. It was just a little inquiry. Figures some other design.
Definitely. Questions are always welcome, on or off the podcast.
Say it all mystique like that. Oh, okay.
Smooth and soft.
Smooth jazz.
We're gonna get into voice acting.
And sharing out your genes.
Oh. That reference.
Listen, okay? Listen.
Oh, man, that's great. Jeez.
I wanted to try to say something, but that probably would have made things worse.
Go ahead, throw it out there. I'd love to hear it.
Uh-oh.
Only look at your pockets on Mondays.
Weird.
Now you look, okay? You look. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
I just love how he doesn't say no.
You can't avoid it.
Oh my god.
The only thing I could say to this effect is that at least I don't stare. And that's going to be the end of that. I'm probably going to cut this. Sorry, mommy.
Please no.
I know. This is great.
This is such an insight to how awkward game industry people actually are.
Like, this is where the credits are rolling and we're just still talking.
We're just, yep. And then, like, part of the credits are just like, any day now.
Whenever you want to log out of this video, that'd be great. Otherwise, you'll keep hearing us banter.
All right.
All right. Let's start tidying up.
That wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and if you did, remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below, especially with any kind of rich vocabularic words we could use in the next episode. Words that we can actually use in a sentence that we understand.
Real words.
No hippopotamonstrosesquipedaliophobia.
Something
you
like
can say
that.
that twice. Don't put it there.
Jesus. Here comes another tangent. No. Okay.
Oh, God.
I want to thank Darkovika and Fabled Mercenary.
Woot, woot.
Amazing fun. It was very much worth it, and I know everyone's going to love this.
I'm Element. You can follow me on Twitter at Element7X and
Well
on
as
Twitch.
Twitch.
Twitch.tv/Element7 ElementXStyle. And Darkovika, where can people reach you?
Right here.
Right
Come on,
here.
baby.
On Twitter.
Right. Twitter.com/Darkovika. Facebook.com/Lady Darkovika. And Twitch.tv/Darkovika is where you can find me.
And for me, Fabled Mercenary, unfortunately, I'm not on very many social media sites. I try to keep pretty quiet online character as well. But as I begin to further my brand, you guys will be able to see me on different areas. Right now, you can catch me on the Nexus as Mike Finley, one word, no caps. I'll be taking over all of my old Raw Champion mods and redistributing them for Fallout New Vegas for Final Cut, all the additions that you guys have been asking for. Otherwise, you want to play with on PSN Network, on Fight Up for Heartlines. You've got my PSN Network name as Fabled Mercenary, Fabled_Mercenary. Otherwise, you guys will catch me in the future.
Also, since he's not on Twitter, if you have any hate comments to say to him specifically,
Post it
you
below.
could tweet that to me, or you can post it in the comments below, and we'll direct it accordingly.
Element style, tag Element style. He'll be more than happy to read your Captain Squeeb's hate comments.
Just hashtag it, hate Captain Squeeze.
And then
Hashtag hate Captain Squeebs.
and then I'll disable replies. Okay. So, any last comments before we head out?
Nah, I think this was great. I said, appreciate you guys having me. It's been fun.
Thank you so much for tuning in for all of this. I love you all so very much, and I hope you had as much of a wonderful time as we did. And we are looking forward to doing another one of these for you guys very soon. Thank you all so very much. See you all in the next video, and ta-ta.
All right, guys. Take care.
Goodbye.